So we've been making sourdough starter, we've been making normal bread. I think today's the time that we make a sourdough bread. This is Michael and this is the family cook. This is day one and step one of making a sourdough loaf. So basically this is the evening and we're going to make leaven. So we're going to take some of the sourdough starter, we're adding some flour to it and we're letting it ferment overnight so that it's ready tomorrow morning to start adding more flour and to start to work the dough for the first proof. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put some starter in here. And I usually put 100 grams of my sourdough starter. You can always smell when your sourdough starter is healthy. There's a beautiful smell. It's sour. There we go. Bit of piano in the background. And then I'm going to add 200 grams of rye. And because I've added 200 grams of rye and I work with a 70% hydration, I need to add 140 grams of water to this. Okay, so we're going to mix this. We don't have to work this too much, it doesn't have to be kneaded or anything. We just need to incorporate the starter with the flour and the water. Here we go. And then we're going to put the lid on and I'm going to leave it out, and tomorrow morning I'll add the other flour as well. Now what I usually do is, because the starter's out, it's a good time to feed the starter, right? So we're doing about a couple of tablespoons of rye flour, because this is a rye starter. It's better to use wholemeal. And then an equal amount of water. I've got clean hands, don't worry. I've been told by a baker, he said it helps with the wild yeast. And so I'm going to put this back in the fridge. Welcome to the second step of making our sourdough bread. This is the step that takes the most time. So what we do, we take the leaven that we made yesterday and we add the rest of the water and flour to this mixture and get it ready for the first proof. It's very handy to use a scraper in this phase. So what we'll do is we'll add the water first. And with the scraper, we're just going to mix what we made yesterday in the first step with the water. It's not overcomplicated. Just make sure that it's mixed, and that will help distribute the starter through the flour later. Right, so it's reasonably mixed, right? Still some bits in there, that's not a problem. But it's ready for the flour. So this is just a mixture of 2/3 white, 1/3 wholemeal. And we're going to mix that. You can do it with your hands, you can do it with a mixture, with a dough hook. But the whole point of this recipe is that it takes very little kneading. So I would just keep it manual if I were you. We just need to make sure it's properly incorporated. And then we can leave it. Okay, so my hands are clean, but I am going to take this, it's a bit of a waste, to leave that on the scraper. And then we're going to close it. As you can see, it's not fully mixed, properly mixed, but you know, it isn't being kneaded or anything. And we'll leave that for the next 30 minutes. Okay, the first half hour has gone, and you can see it looks slightly different. It has incorporated liquids a little bit more. And what we're going to do is sort of a light kneading. So we'll keep it in the bowl. I have some water here on the side, so we're going to make our hand wet so it doesn't stick. And I also have my scraper, so I'm making that wet as well. And I'm just going to loosen it. Okay, now my hand is wet and I'm going to put under it and bring it over. So basically we're stretching it very lightly and that's it, right? So we're going to leave that another 30 minutes. I'm going to rinse my hand, and here we are for the second time. Then we're going to fold the sourdough. So again, same process. I'm just going to loosen it from the side so I can easily fold it. And you can see it feels different. You can see it's much more a dough. It comes together. It's a bit more stretchy. Okay, that's it. Easy. Okay, here's number 3. Look at this. Definitely better. So we're going to do the same thing. As we get further down the process, you'll see that the dough will start sticking less. But it's really very easy if you make it a little bit wet. You can do this barely making your hands dirty. Here we go. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put the salt in. So I didn't do this at the beginning because I don't want the salt to, you know, infringe on the yeast, the wild yeast, the starter, to do its job. Salt kills the yeast, right? Okay, we're going to do this one more time in 30 minutes and then we're done. We're going to shape the dough and make it ready for the second proof. And we're back for the final step, the final task in step 2, which is shaping the loaf for the second proof, right? So we're going to take out the dough. It's easier when you keep your hands a bit moist. Here we go. Okay. Next, with the scraper, either one. This one's easier as far as I'm concerned. We make that one a little bit wet as well. So we're going to fold the dough over itself. This is the bottom of the loaf, or this will become the bottom. We're going to flip it round, and then we're going to shape it and create a bit of tension. And the quicker you work, the easier it is. So we're going to twist it 90 degrees, pull it towards us. Twist it 90 degrees, pull it towards us. And again, and every time you see a bit more tension comes onto the loaf. When it starts to stick a little bit, just wetten it. If you don't get enough tension from the surface, just put a little bit of flour on the surface. Yeah, we're almost there. And we're there. And we'll flip it on upside down into the banneton. These baskets, they allow you to get the typical sourdough shape. They're less than 10 quid on Amazon or other platforms, and I've been using this one for 2 years. Very easy and lasts a lifetime. So we're going to put a little bit of flour. This is going to be the bottom of the loaf. It's a mix of whole grain and rice flour. There we go. Then I'll put the cover on. And this will go into the fridge. And then first thing tomorrow morning, we can do the final step, and that's bake the loaf.
Good morning. Welcome back for step number 3 in making the sourdough bread. So today we're baking. This is by far the easiest step and the most rewarding one. I just wanted to talk about what we bake our sourdough in. So I have what we call a cloche, which is this dome, and you warm it up, you put the bread in there, and for half the baking time it's with a lid on and then with the lid off. And it produces an amazing bread. Now, if you don't have one, you probably don't, you could use a Dutch oven to recreate the same kind of effect. Or you could easily make one if you use like a pizza base with a Pyrex dome on top. You do exactly the same thing. This is what I did in the beginning. And the thing is, by trapping the moisture, the steam, inside the container, you recreate what an oven does in a bakery, and it allows the bread to expand before the crust sets. And so halfway through we take the lid off, and then you get more of a crust. But you'll see in a minute. Let's put the cloche in the oven to preheat before we put the bread in. Okay, there we go. We preheat the cloche for about 5 minutes, and then it's nice and warm, and we'll put the bread in.
Okay, great stuff. So, the cloche is warm, hot, ready to go. We'll take it out. There we go. Piping hot. You can see the steam coming off. So, here's our loaf. So we're going to turn it around, put our hand under it, and just let it drop into the cloche. Then we're going to score it. And we'll put the lid on, and we'll put the cloche back in the oven. So it's in at 250 for 30 minutes, and then we're going to take the lid off and reduce the temperature. It's been in the oven now for 30 minutes, so it's time to have a look. It's always very, very exciting. It's like the great reveal. Oh, wow! Look at that, beautiful.
So it's going in for another 30 minutes, and we're going to reduce the temperature to 200 degrees. 30 minutes have passed. The loaf is ready. I'm just going to take it out. And look at this. Beautiful. So what we now have to do, and this is very, very difficult, we have to leave it. We have to leave the loaf here to completely cool down. So it's lovely to cut into it, and it's lovely to have a warm slice of bread with some butter. I know, but this is what you need to do. Some say you need to wait a day, but I've never been able to do that. But do give it a couple of hours. Alright, enjoy.